Highlights then from the first round of the Rookie Cup season sees Enzo Filipao starting from pole position ahead of Bo Dixon. It was a poor start from 4th place with Sven Mackenberg dropping back into the clutches of those behind. Bo Dixon would nearly get alongside the race leader down to the first corner, but it was all about Filipao at the front. A great start from Grunwald from 5th position on the attack from 3rd as Marvin Mackenberg was looking to grab 2nd from Bo Dixon. With a bit of a dive down the inside into the 2nd corner, it was actually a poor exit from Marvin Mackenberg that would drop him into the clutches of Grunwald as they head round the Parabolica for the first time down towards the hairpin. Before they even got into the braking zone, the position went the way of Grunwald. Schubeck was trying to attack a Tassoy down into the hairpin, and a Tassoy would actually run a bit too deep, dragging Sven Mackenberg with him, and it was a drag race off of the corner, including Pfeiffer as well, who would get himself into the mix round the fast kick, nearly making it 3 wide, heading down into the arena section. Schubeck would hold the advantage on the outside and hang on to the position, but it was side by side in the background as Pfeiffer was trying to find his way past, goes in a little bit too deep, opens the door for a Tassoy to come through, and as they head through the fast right-hander out of the arena section, there was contact between the two, and Pfeiffer would spin into the clutches of everyone else, dragging Sven Mackenberg round with him. The race leaders, though, separated by small margins as they crossed the line. Filipao just ahead of Bo Dixon. Closing in on the fight was Grunwald. They were all starting to drag their way ahead of the pack behind. Schubeck would drag his way up to the rear end of Marvin Mackenberg, and the two of them would fight over 4th position, with Marvin Mackenberg trying to get around the outside, trying to hang on at the inside of the arena section, would dive it in very deep and was able to hang on to the position just for now. However, coming down to the Sachs curve, he would open up the door, and that was the advantage that Schubeck needed. Behind that, there was this crazy fight for 6th place with Tassoy holding on for a train with Kiensberger, Cravey and Klinkelmeyer, who we ride on board with behind Villa Cravey, who was trying to find his way through in all of that fight, but it was at the front where the action was being seen a little bit too deep into the corner from a Tassoy, and it would open up the door for Kiensberger to come through and Villa Cravey as well. By the time they got down into the arena section, though, it was the switch back and the up and under, trying to get all the way around the outside from a Tassoy after that fast kick, and he certainly would do so all the way around and taking over 7th position. The race lead, though, still very close. Bo Dixon happy to sit behind Filipao for now. The two of them, though, starting to pull away just a touch from Grunwald, leaving the driver in 3rd place. Renault was defending from silver when he made this mistake, diving it down the inside of Hockenheimring way too deep in the braking zone, dropping a couple of positions as well for good measure before rejoining the train. Thankfully, no major drama after all of that. Villa Cravey was coming under increasing pressure from Klinkelmeyer as he was still unable to make a pass on a Tassoy. It wasn't long, though, before he'd closed that gap back up and was really on the attack. Looking down the inside into Mode 1, the outside for the Sachs curve, Tassoy would manage to hang on to that one quite easily, but he was there knocking at the door. Just outside of the top 10, Renault was coming under pressure from Guides, who made a little bit of a mistake whilst diving it down the inside, dropping a position to the charging Pfeiffer after the early issues in the race. And it wasn't long before Pfeiffer himself managed to get through on Renault. Tassoy was in too deep into the hairpin, and Villa Cravey absolutely pounced on the opportunity, firing his way up into 7th position. And it wasn't long before Klinkelmeyer also fancied his chances to pass the ailing Tassoy, who was in a little bit too deep into the penultimate corner, opening the door for Klinkelmeyer to get there. There was a bit of a brush between the two of them, but the advantage at the final corner, the outside line will always prevail, and that's exactly what happened in this. Unfortunately, a bit of a mistake from Kiensberger from 6th position with a bit of a spin, locking the rears, going in a little bit too hot into the 2nd corner, would drop outside of the top 10 after that critical mistake. Klinkelmeyer was trying to get past a Tassoy, but was in way too deep. A Tassoy would come through. Demelke also would find his way past, but it wasn't long before the fight back happened. Klinkelmeyer down the inside of Demelke as they run through the 2nd and 3rd corner, and joining the battle, of course, would be Hockenheimring, trying to find his way past all of this. Got to the outside of Demelke. By the time they got down to the arena section, he'd back out of it, and Demelke would be hanging on to 9th position. The race leader, though, bit of a mistake. This is the final lap of the race. Filipao in too deep coming into the 2nd corner, and that was the opportunity open for Bo Dixon to get to the inside of the hairpin. As they went around the arena section, Bo Dixon would have to send it all the way around the outside of Enzo Filipao, and it would just work. However, there were still plenty of opportunities left for Filipao to try something. The outside of the Sachs curve, that one ticked off. No advantage there. Bo Dixon, final corner, and out of it, he would win the first race of the season at the Hockenheimring. Bo Dixon on top, just from Enzo Filipao.